Hello and good morning, friends. Today we are going to discuss one more theory of the origin of state, and today we are going to talk about one of the most interesting theories and one of our most favorite theories of multiple scholars. And this theory is given by Karl Marx, the German philosopher, the German political thinker who later migrated to England and spent most of his life in England. So this is called the Marxist theory of or the origin of state. So it's a very interesting theory. It's one of the most important theories, and you will find it very different than what you have learned so far. So we are going to complete this theory in two classes. Today we are going to get some introduction of Karl Marx and his theory, and tomorrow we will do the criticism and more significance of the theory to finish. Now today we are going to learn about Karl Marx first. Karl Marx was, as I said, was a German philosopher. He was born in Germany, but he spent most of his life in Britain. So you have to take care of the timeline here. 1818 to 1883, the time of industrialization was going on, and the situation of the workers in the factories, in the industries, was very critical. So you have to understand the importance of this person, that the follower of him, his followers call him God. He is regarded as a god according to his followers, and in the all over sphere of the political scientist, he is known as the god that has failed, because what he actually made some kind of he said what is going to happen next, what is the fate of the world next, that actually did not come true. So even though his theory seems very practical and very amazing on the paper, in the reality it failed. So he is known as the god that has failed. Karl Marx has written two books, the Das Kapital and the Communist Manifesto. So he has talked about capitalism and socialism in Das Kapital, and about the origin of state he has given his views in the Communist Manifesto. So this is a important little facet that you should memorize, or you should remember, that the views of Karl Marx about the origin of the state are given in this book. You write the book name down in your exam, that is going to fetch you one extra mark, my friend. So the Communist Manifesto was the book in which he gave his theory of the origin of state. Now, what Karl Marx believed in was class structure. He believed that in reality money matters, nothing else matters as much as money matters. He says that there is no religion, there is no nation, there is no caste, color or race, there is nothing like that. All these things are false. These things are false consciousness, and in reality there is only one thing that matters, and that is matter itself, the money. There are only two classes. This person was trying to say that there are only two type of classes. Two classes. One class, this one, is the class that has money, has property. So this is the capitalist class, also known as bourgeoisie class. The second class is labor. It does not have property or money, it has to work. So this class, the first class, its motive is only to make as much profit as it can, while the second class, this only try to feed themselves. They only barely earn something, that is, they are barely able to feed their hungry stomachs. So but what Marx said, that the real work is being done by this class, while this class is only exploiting them. Suppose there is some kind of project, and this project is of worth 1 lakh rupees. Now this person is going to work, and this person is going to invest the money, but out of this project, let's say that project is finished, this class will only get around 10,000 out of that 1 lakh, and this person will get 90,000. While all of the work was done by this person only employed his money. So Karl Marx says that when this person is working half as much as the other person in the whole project, his equal partner, he should be given equal money as well. So Karl Marx says that in reality there are two classes. One class is the rich class, this one, and the second class is the poor class, and the poor class suffers at the hands of the rich class, because the rich class has all of the luxuries of the life, and it has property, it has money, so it employs the second class, and the second class just keeps working and working for the first class. So he says that first of all, one should forget that the religion and God and all those things, they are made only by the upper class, the rich class, to somehow control the lower classes, the working class. So the rich class, the capitalist class, it invents God. It says, it shows us the fear of God. But Karl Marx says that God or religion itself is actually false consciousness. We are only being divided, or we are only being shown this fear of God, that all right, even if something wrong happens to the working class, they should not revolt. They should just think, all right, God will take care of it. So this is one of the false consciousness pointed out by Marx. Then he says that even nations and nationalism is a false consciousness. We have been divided in nations, like in India or America or Canada. He says that all of us are similar and we are part of working class. The working class are divided by nations, and the same he says about caste and creed or race and other kind of dividing things. He says that even language is a false consciousness. So he gives a model that is called the base superstructure model. In this model, he says that this is the base model. Okay, this model is the base model, and this is actually the economic model on which we have money and all that. Let's do it like this. So he says that this is the base of any model. This is the base, and this is economic model on which money matters. One has money, the other do not have money. Okay, this is the real basic point behind his theory. And then he says that on the top of this lies this superstructure, and in this superstructure, this is the state, this is the education, the church, the media, and everything. So what he is saying, that in reality, state is not actually the basic structure. State is only a part of the superstructure. The reality is economic, and the state will only work for the betterment of the rich class, and it will never help the poor class. It says, his theory says that the state is made by the rich people, because all of the bills, all of the laws will become laws. Only those laws will become laws that profit the rich class, not the poor class. All the laws will be framed in such a manner that the rich people get most of the benefit, while the poor people do not get much. So he says that state is originated by this real structure, the base structure. These people, the rich people, have made state, and they have made this state so they can defend themselves. So they are the real lawmakers, they are the real runner of the state, while these people, the so-called statesmen, are only there to see. They are only superstructure, they are only the part of the superstructure. Then he says the state only works for the exploiting class. If one class is capital class, the second class is working class. The capital class wants most of the profit, the working class wants most of the salary. Now both of their interests are completely opposite. There can be more profit if the salary is lowered, and there can be more of salary if the profit are lowered. So they keep struggling against each other, and here state only helps these rich people. The state does not help poor people. This is what Karl Marx is trying to state here. Now what Karl Marx said, that there have been 6 stages. There have been already 4 stages at his time. He said 2 more stages will come. So according to Karl Marx, there are 6 stages in human history. The first stage is primitive communism. This means at the time when there was no state, there was no rules, there was nothing like that, and humans were living in like the jungle or some other kind of places, and at that time there was no property. Everyone had common ownership of property. If there is a tree, there is a land, everyone was enjoying equal rights. You could eat whatever you want, you can do whatever you want at that time. So he says that was the situation of primitive communism. Second stage is slave society, in which some people became powerful. They acquired some property, and the other people were forced to work on that property. So at that time slavery came into effect, and this second stage was slave society. Third stage, according to Karl Marx, is feudalism. Feudalism was this term is used for the medieval Europe. There was this system in which like Jamidar system, if you can understand, the most close example of this, the jamidari system. So the feudal lord owned a lot of land, like huge land. He was sometimes the feudal lords were more stronger than the king themselves. They were not the king, but they had a lot of land, and there were workers of that land that worked on that, and those workers, those slaves were called serfs, and those serfs lived on his lands and they worked on his land, and they were exploited by a feudal lord, because whatever he earned out of this land, even though the working was being done by the serfs were not given much part of the profit. They were given basic very limited money only, so they could just feed and stay alive, and all of the profit was taken by the feudal lord. And this was the feudalism system according to Karl Marx. The fourth stage is capitalism. Capitalism means when you have, in today's world, capitalism dominates. We have liberalism and capitalism are some kind of, they are one thing in one matter or other. In capitalism, you are free to acquire as much property as you want. You're free to do whatever you want, and you can just ignore the needs of others. And capitalism promotes only one motive, and that motive is making as much money as you possibly can to have a luxurious life. For example, you may see many things like Maggie. For example, you do not need Maggie, you do not need to eat it. Nobody needs to eat Maggie to stay alive, but there are a lot of advertisements. According to Marx, these things are there to somehow form our opinion for ourselves. It's not our choice to eat Maggie. They are telling us repeatedly that Maggie is very good for you. Or in tea or coffee, they keep telling you that the tea is very helpful. There will be news about tea, there will be this green tea things and other kind of things. I'm not saying that they're bad or something, but a person does not really need it, but they keep telling us that these are good things, and then they keep producing it and they keep selling it so they can make more money, while people who don't really need these things, they are made into consumers. So what Karl Marx says, that capitalism exploits people. It gives a sense of false consciousness, it gives opium to the masses, it gives this false consciousness about everything, and it only cares about its own profit, while the working class just keep struggling and struggling. So Marx says that capitalism is the fourth stage. Fifth stage is, according to Marx, is socialism, and he says the socialism means, this is Marx socialism, not today's socialism. According to Marx, the socialism will be when all of the working class people will get together and stand together and will take up arms, and there will be violent overthrow of the capitalist class. So yes, he has this violence in his theory. He says that you cannot expect someone to relinquish power because of change of heart. You have to take power from them, and this is the evidence of the world that not even a new thing can be born, not even a baby is born without spilling of blood. He says that there will be a bloody violent overthrow of the capitalist class when the capital will start exploiting the poor people even more and more. It will reach at the peak, and that time all those poor people or their working class will come together. The proletariat, those who do not own any property at all, they will come together, take up arms and overthrow the capitalist system. This is what Marx says. And then there will be six stage, and according to Marx, this will be the end of human history, because this will be the last stage. In communism, the state will cease to exist. There will be no state, there will be no government, there will be no authority. There will be some kind of self-help groups kind of things, some people, committees, something like that to manage affairs, but everyone will work, everyone will be equal. In socialism, basically, equality matters. In capitalism, liberty matters. So in communism, everyone will start working, everyone will work together, everyone will have common ownership. And if somebody works for something, like there is a project of 1 lakh in that example, and two people are working on it, even if one is providing capital and the other is providing work, the profit will be shared equally, because the work is just as important as capital. This is what Marx says. Marx says that in reality, the human work, the physical labor, is much more important than the intellectual labor. So I hope today we learned a little bit of idea you might have now what Marx is trying to say, a different kind of theory based on economic structure and state, and how state works in real life, and the six stages that he said will be coming. So in the next class we will go into his exact theory of the origin of the state and criticism. So I hope you learned something from this. See you in the next class. Thank you.